A beautiful day in the Florida Keys. I don't know where you're at, but wherever you are, I hope it's as beautiful as it is here. That's a nice view right out the window. Just thought I'd share this with anybody who's going to watch the install of a CERTANO palm bender. And we've got some of the instruments that I bring down here to the Florida Keys. Just a few here and there. I think the camera's going to pick it all up. Paul Reed Smith, Tanglewoods, Dobros, steel guitar, and let's see what else. Oh, here we go. This is cool. Here, I am familiar with bending, as I had a double bender put on by Mr. Joe Glazier. That's a B and a G bender. And had that installed here just in the last 5-6 months. So I sure love the bending style stuff. I've never used a palm bender, and I just thought I would document the process. I will tell you right off the bat that my communications with David CERTANO in France have been nothing but spectacular. He's quick to reply, very precise with what he does. I kind of jumped in front of this video by opening the box. I was so excited yesterday. I had a show here in the Florida Keys as we've just arrived here, and I played last night, and that box came in right before I left, and I couldn't wait. I just had to open it up. But I'm going to show you how well it was packed, and it's just a beautiful device that I'm going to be installing on a Paul Reed Smith. But I just thought I'd show you a few of the horses in the saddle. Here's one for you. David, you'll appreciate this. This is a 1950 Fender Broadcaster. Yes, it is. That's nice. A beautiful guitar. I've had that guitar for a very, very long time. And it's been part of my blessings of noisemakers that I've had for quite a while. Some of those 2014 Les Pauls that are the single F-hole cutaways. And just some more. And here's one of my favorites. Just got this here recently. This is a 92 135 with the P100s. Beautiful guitar. But all that to say, well, heck, might as well show you this one while I'm at it. It's a 67 ES 355. Just a beautiful, beautiful guitar. That's a 67 Grand Casino. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to show you the instrument I'm going to put the palm bender on. This is a Paul Reed Smith right there, Korean-made Zach Meyer model, and it's a beautiful guitar, very inexpensive, but excellent guitar. I'm obviously a live player, and I do a lot of session work. I've used this guitar in quite a few sessions. We're from the Nashville, Tennessee environment back home, so the demand of making sure that you have the right tool for the job is very important. And I have to tell you that these Paul Reed Smiths, the lesser expensive models, the ones that have been made overseas, are absolutely some of the finest, inexpensive instruments that I've ever played, that I've ever owned. And I haven't owned a lot of instruments made from overseas. So, but as I get down here into the Florida Keys environment, a lot of times this is a very sacrificial environment. It really damaging elements on your gear. So, salt, water, and the wind, and you just don't necessarily want to take all your vintage stuff out. And so I just thought, well, no, see if any of these cheaper guitars that looked pretty were worth it. And absolutely, I think this guitar here was about, reverb, it was about $400. So just a great, for the gigging musician, man, just a great sound. Everything's all stock on it. I just changed the knobs on it just to kind of match some stuff up. But all that to say, this is the device that we're putting on here. This is the CERTANO double palm bender. Now, before we go any further, this was the package that it came in. I want to see if I can do this all one-handed here. I'm holding actually a big camera. This is not an iPhone. This is actually a big HD camera. So, tell you what, I'm going to put this on the stand real quick. Okay. This is the bender itself. unbelievable craftsmanship, the detail here of how things are milled and put together. Obviously, David has a passion to, provide a tool for the player that's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered, and no doubt that this is going to be. This is just so well made. I wanted to back up just a little bit, just to tell you how I got this far with David and this purchase. I reached out to David regarding what I wanted to do and provided pictures of this guitar to him through Reverb. This is how I did it. And I also explained to him that we were leaving the Nashville, Tennessee area for quite a while and heading down to the Florida Keys, and just wanted to make sure two things. That, number one, the Bender concept would work for this particular guitar, as this has a single bridge scenario with the saddle, whereas like a Les Paul would have a second, basically a tailpiece. Matter of fact, let me just go get one real quick. Okay, this is a 79 Les Paul, and you can see there's your tailpiece right here, and then of course your saddle and everything right there. Whereas, I don't know if I can low seal in here, you can see that this is one piece and that's two pieces. There you go. So obviously, I want to make sure that the distance from that back area is not affected by having too much in the back to be working with. So, obviously if you do something like this, you're not going to be able to bend. And that's not a recommendation to do. I'm just telling anybody who's watching this, if you're thinking about how to do this, like I was figuring out what guitar to do this with, well, I already have done a Telecaster that I had made into a Bender from Mr. Glazier, so I didn't want to do another Telecaster. And so I looked, and I'd seen some videos of a gentleman, Mr. Tom Bukovac, who plays a Duesenberg, and they have their own type of Bender scenario, but it's basically just one unit right here, and then of course the mechanism like that, and that makes sense. As you can see, now we're getting into where we can actually perform with the mechanism right there. So I sent these pictures to David, and David responded and said yes, that's exactly it, and very fast that he responded, which was great. Also too, wanted to let him know that I'm not going to buy right yet, because I was in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and then coming this way to the Keys and wasn't sure about address change and receiving mail. So with all that said, he responded and said, hey, when you get in place and you do all your goodies, there'll be one waiting for you. So upon arriving here to the Florida Keys, which is, today's a Saturday as we're doing this, we arrived here 1 week ago on Sunday, so actually 6 days ago. Once I got comfortable that the mail was being delivered here, because we've had issues in the past, I ordered this, and I ordered this on the 22nd of February. As I'm speaking to you right now, it's the 26th of February, and it arrived yesterday. So this arrived from France. 22nd it was ordered, 23rd, 24th, 25th. So do your math, what, 3.5, 4 days? And immediately David provided tracking and confirmation, all that stuff that you'd hope to have with an outstanding transaction via Reverb. His communication has been nothing short of just excellent, excellent. When the package came in, this is what was delivered. And as I was saying, I was heading out that door and I couldn't help it. I had to take the scissors and open it up. But it was packaged very well. This palm bender was, folded up and all packaged in the goodies right here, and down in here with this plastic like so, and a lot better than what I'm showing you. But I promise you that the packaging was perfect for this, and it was great. And it came via FedEx, and inside here's instructions and of what to do. Interestingly enough, also, when I purchased this, there were two choices, I guess, on the two that I saw, and I just didn't know which one to get. One was for a lap steel, and the other one was for like a Telecaster style. And I just assumed that the guitar style would be what I would need. But that's not true, because the height of the Telecaster area back here is totally different than what it is on this Paul Reed Smith's. So David took the liberty of making sure, through the pictures that I'd provided him and also the information about the guitar, that I would receive the right mechanism. And this is actually for the lap steel. This is a lap steel model CERTANO palm bender. So the idea is going to be somewhere back here, and we're going to be bending the G and the B string. And I just wanted to provide all this information before we did the install. And I think it's very, very important that when you have somebody like David that's willing to help to the nth degree, that, well, that you know it. And I've never used a palm bender. I've never seen a CERTANO palm bender. I don't know if I've ever seen a palm bender. And you know, I spent a lot of time in Nashville recording studios. And anyway, with that said, I've heard a lot about them, and I can see why. This absolutely has made me excited. So let's start the journey of the installation. And thank you for hearing my little diatribe to begin everything. But you know, every adventure has a journey that begins someplace, and that's where this one began. So now let's get into the installation. Okay, it's installation time. So let's get the packet out here that has parts and it looks like directions here for the CERTANO bender. You can see that I see some Allen keys and a couple screws right there. I see a little sticker, and that's going to be directions. So let's read this together. Okay, well, here's what we have. Hello, Dan. Thank you for ordering my bender, Le Carré. I'm assuming that's how that's pronounced. I am a small company. I am very proud to distribute my product in your country. I first made my benders for myself. I needed something robust, precise, which does not go out of tune and which does not break the strings. All my benders are polished and assembled by myself, and they are checked and tested before delivery. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. There are 2 adjustment screws for the height of the levers according to your morphology, and the 2 screws which allow the adjustments for the desired tone. So I believe that would be relative to, yeah, okay, placing the bender at a certain height this way, relative to how you're going to have your own feel. And then when you finally do your depressing of it to bend the string, getting the exact pitch. So I'm going to say this is the 2, or the 2 that we're talking about, or the 4 that we're talking about, not here. So there you go. Hope that's staying in focus. Okay. Both levers can be folded up completely if you do not wish to use the benders. So what you can do, yeah, they're nice and snug, obviously, but you can see they can be folded out of the way. Okay. Let's see what else we have. 2 adjustment screws, okay, and both the ends, okay. They are set so that they do not move in rotation while playing. If you want to intervene on the adjustment, another small screw blocks the main screw, so you can use the small hexagonal key. And it's showing a diagram of what he's talking about right there. So we'll get to that at some other point. If we want to make an adjustment, I believe, on these right here for the tension that's on that. Yes, okay, that would make sense. Sure, okay. Bronze bearings guarantee millions of uses and do not require any special lubrication or maintenance. The levers are laser cut and polished stainless steel. The adjusting screws and springs are also made of stainless steel. The body of the bender and the moving parts are made of high quality aluminum. You will find in the box the bender, and you will also find 2 small keys, a wooden rod, and the fixing screws. That's it. Okay, yeah, that's what we have in the bag. And this is the bag we took these directions out of. Okay, you must disassemble the bender to install it on your instrument. For transport, I block the bender. That is why you must unscrew the depth and the tone adjustment screws before disassembling. Though the depth and the tone adjustment are going to be these right here. Right there. Okay, we will take them, we will disassemble that. Release the axle by pushing it with the wooden rod. Okay, there's the wooden rod. Now everything will be dismantled. So what's going to happen here in a few minutes, I'm going to take these parts off. I'm going to take that wooden rod and I'm going to push that axle out. And when that does, these levers are going to come out. And I'll be able just to deal with that base part, because you can see that's where the screws are going to go through to mount actually to the top of the guitar. We're going to place the lower part of the bender 1 inch from the bridge. There's enough room in front of the strings you wish to pull. Careful of the bridge. I'm going to, this now gets into the actual installation on the guitar. I'm going to stop right here so I can get prepped for this part of it. So let's disassemble the CERTANO. Okay, here we go. Okay, parts out here. There's the wooden rod. There's the screws. Here's that. Allen keys and a cool little sticker that we will put right there for now. CERTANO. You know what? I'm gonna put that right there. There. How's that? That's neat. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, release the axles. You must disassemble the bender. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to disassemble the bender. You must unscrew the depth and tone screws before disassembling. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, this is depth. Okay. All right. Oh, I want to make sure I'm good here. I can see that there's a spring on there, so we're going to go nice and easy. Okay. That's a long screw right there. Okay, and that's what you have. You have that with a, I don't know if you can see, I'll try to put that right behind it maybe, so you can see that that spring, there's a spring on the shaft there. Okay, so I'm going to mark what is what here. They all look like they have the same basic thing, but that's going to be the left. I'm going to set that aside over here so I know which way to put them back here. So this will be that. It's not, they're very easy to unscrew. They're not in here tight at all. I think you can just go pretty quick right there. So that's going to be the front. Okay. And I believe, yeah, you can almost do this with your hand. Oh, you can see how they run all the way. Okay, so put that up there just in case. I don't think there's any difference in the length of these at all. They all look to be the same. Okay. I'm thinking now what we have to do is take that out. Before we do that though, I want to confirm the length here. These are all the same, so I don't think you could make a mistake in terms of swapping which one these came out of. I know that this one came out of here, right there, just by the way that I've got them laid out on the table, and this one came from right here, but it looks like everything would fit in the event that you dropped one or whatever. I believe they would just go right back into any of the slots. So, okay, we'll put that there. Now, we're going to take this wooden dowel. We're going to double check here. Release the axle by pushing it with the wooden rod. Wooden rod, axle. Well, heck, there she goes right there. Looky there. Can you see that coming out? Yeah. There. I'm assuming, well, there's one. Okay, we got a couple. Yeah, okay, you got a, oh, that came off of that side. Okay, there is definitely a little, you got a little, maybe a little nylon type washer that was on this side, and you get the inside right there, so we don't want to move that around. This is the little post for the string right here. You can see right there the string is going to go. So this was on that side. I'm going to put that right here, and we're going to, let's see if we can still push a little bit. Yep, there we go, and it's out right there. Great. Put that here. Matter of fact, go like that. And then we're going to go like that. I expect that other washer to fall like that, and it did. Perfect. And there we go. And then here is your mechanism. Cool. Well, so far so good right here. This is what we're going to be putting on the guitar. And you know what I didn't do is I didn't pay attention to the front and the back. There is absolutely a front and a back here. So I'm going to say Certano is going to be a certain way right there. Okay. Well, that's something I did not do here, so that's something I recommend. I made a little mistake of not paying attention to the front or the back here, so I'll double check here to make sure I've got my front and back side. You can see that there is a logo. So I'm going to go and look at a picture real quick because he put the logo. I'm going to say it's going to sit on the instrument where you can read it, but that could be either side. But there is an adjustment right there, so I just want to make sure I don't, if there's a front and back here. So that was an oversight on my end, and that's okay because we can figure this out. It might not make a difference, but he didn't do this by chance, by accident. And it looks like that mechanism right there is probably for that axle that goes through there. It can tighten that axle, I bet you. Yeah. Sure, that makes sense, and I bet you that feels like that. And I'm just doing a little guessing here. I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, but anyway, that was a little bit of an oversight on my end right there, just to see if there's truly a front or back. He does have a logo on one side and no logo on the other, so I'm going to take a look to see if I can just identify on this model which way it should go, whether it should go that way or should go that way. Okay, a quick internet search shows me that we want this part to be accessible from the back end of the instrument, which makes perfect sense because these levers would be over here, and then we'd be able to reach in nice and easy without any obstruction to make any kind of adjustment right there. So with that said, that logo right there, which by the way, this is the La Carré regular, and there is a La Carré lower profile for Telecasters. So with that in mind, it was easy to find because you can see the pictures on the internet of which way they're designed to go. So with that said, that logo, the back of the guitar is going to be here, logo is going to be facing me, neck's going to go that way, and everything's going to be great. So, all right, let's block that guitar off and see what we can do next. Okay, so the idea is going to be that this will fit somewhere back here. So we've got to do a couple things. We've got to get the distance correct, and we got to make sure we're parallel to this bridge back here. So I'm going to use a little piece of painter's tape to block off everything. That way when I start drilling, everything's all good. And plus it's got a straight edge to a degree that's going to allow me to do some measuring, and that'll help me get some precise measurements there. Okay, so I got that piece of tape in place, and I think that's going to give me enough room. I think so. If not, what I could do, I don't actually have to have it that way. Yeah, that's good. So back to the instructions. Very simply, it says place the lower part of the bender 1 inch from the bridge. And I'm going to say the lower part of the bender, about 1 inch. But we need to measure exactly what is 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'm going to measure 1 inch about right here. Yeah, okay, there's 1 inch from the back, and I'm going to just do that really quick. And I'm just going to put it to here, do that real quick. So then I'm going to just take a straight edge. I don't know if you're going to be able to see a lot of this. Trying to. And we're going to see if we can mark that off as a reference point. Now, I'm going to measure this one more time. So we have 1 inch. Yeah, let me see. And there's 1 cat up on the counter. Okay. All right, that line, I'm not sure if the camera's picking up, and I hope that it is, but I'm having to work at these angles right here, so I'm going to try to do the best I can. But that line right there is running parallel. That gives me the 1 inch distance away from the back of the bridge, which this is being asked to be in that area. Okay. I'm just going to temporarily put one of these here to see where we would be. That's upside down, and that would be on the inside. Yeah, so that would be that. So we'd be something like that, yeah. Oh, that looks great. Okay. Okay, check this out. Before I start drilling, obviously I want to make sure where my hand placement on this guitar is going to have access to these levers. So I had to uninstall this, or excuse me, disassemble this just a little bit ago with the wooden dowel. And I've just reassembled. Very easy to do. The pieces are so milled to fine specs, but it's not difficult to put it back. And the reason I put it back for me was just I wanted to make sure that my 1 inch line was going to be where I wanted these palm levers to be. And just making sure that that 1 inch mark is right. Now, why is that important to me? Well, I'm planning on that the G string, which is that lever right there, I'm planning on that one being straight, and I'm planning on this other one being canted just down a little bit. So I just want to make sure that where my hand naturally sat on this guitar and my palm would be, that would be about right. So what I did, and this is just me coming up with my own process. I've never done this before, so this is why I'm sharing this information with anybody who might take the same journey. As I went and picked the guitar, and I watched where my hand was, because every instrument has you cradling it different just by design of the instrument, the comfort level, and your style. So with me, I strum in that area, and that's fine. But this is not where you're going to access the levers. The access of the levers are back here. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough lever for me to access if it's back there. And I think it's going to be perfect. I think the 1 inch is right. So I just did that for me. I'm not sure if, well, whoever's got a different way, make a video. So that's what I'm doing. So I like the 1 inch because it's going to give me the straight lever on the G. Let me get there, somewhere like that. And then we're going to have a little canted B lever. Probably a little bit more than what you're seeing there. I would imagine that B lever is going to be more, out. But anyway, all that to say, I disassembled it, put it back very quickly, just so I could just have a reference point again, and wanted to mark all my stuff. And could have done that on the front end, and kind of did, but hadn't done the tape idea and the actual mark and stuff. So just double checking, because once I start drilling, that's it. Can't put that wood back for sure, right? So I like that. Now the next thing we have to do is get this string slots right here, which that would be the B. This is going to be the G slot right there. We want to make sure that they're lined up appropriately and at that one inch away from the bottom, and then making sure that these strings are, not off-centered. So let's see how we're going to mark that. Okay, this right here would be the B string palm bender mechanism. So as you can see, that little brass piece right there, I believe that's brass. Whatever that material is, that's actually what the string will be over the top of. The ball of the string will be there. It will go over the top of that, and then there, that'll be our mechanism. So what I'm trying to make sure is how that lines up, and it looks like basically this part right here is exactly the middle of those strings. That's it, just like that. I mean, that's the middle of it. So if we can get that like there off of that thing, we've got it. I mean, we have got it right there. So that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can raise this up. I'm going to mark it like that. Yeah, you see, that's what I'm looking for right there. So if I can put this up real quick like that, I'm hoping I can get that, where you all can see that somehow, some way. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get this piece, which is the middle of this mechanism that holds the actual axle right here, that's going to have the palm levers. It needs to be right there. That's the middle of it. So what I'm going to do is that's that right there. That's it. That's the middle of the string. That's good right there. I'm liking that. Let's see if I can just mark the middle. Okay, a little added thing that I did is I laid it sideways there, right there, where I can physically see this, and I had to go get my little headlight because it was just a little too dark. I took my pen and I marked the inside here like that, giving me a line. I think you can see that line. I'm hopeful that you can. I don't know if you're able to. And then what I'm able to do is I'm able to take a straight edge. Yeah. Like that. Okay. And that, now, somewhat of a reference point. Now let's see if that's going to work. That's it. I was trying to divide this way from distance, but I was not happy with that. It just seemed to not be exactly the way that I want it, and I believe that's it right there. So, knowing that my line's right, I've taken that line that I scored by laying this flat this way with a pen, brought it back out, just lined it up, put it on my 1 inch away from the line scenario, and I'm looking at exactly now where I want, where I want, well, I get the wrong tool here too, where I wanted to put these drill marks there and there. All right, I got my 2 marks right there. Okay. All right, I think we finally got, we're finally marked. I can see that the 2 drill marks are right there and right there. And that's what I want. I'm going to double check everything, and we're going to get the drill going. This is great. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready. Listen, if there's ever a time to say you're ready to do it, let's do it. Okay, so I've got my the smallest drill bit that I have, which he recommends a 2mm. And let's see what we can do here. Let it be known, we're about to put a hole in this guitar. So I'm right on what I want to be on. And that's good. Right there. Okay. Got that. And I got my other hole. Right there. Okay. Now, all right, let's see what happens here, huh? Let's see what happens. When we pull this up, we will have our 2 pilot holes. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that we have the correct way. Let me see if I can just now shut this off a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to put the CERTANO right there. Alright, and now we're going to get our screws. Here's a little tip too. Whenever you're using your Phillips head that's going to be on a powered device like my DeWalt, if you can see right here, I don't know that you can see, but you know that head just doesn't quite fit. Yes, it's a Phillips head, and that's a Phillips head wood screw, but that doesn't quite fit. So in your assortment, make sure you get the thing that fits. Right there, look at that. That's just perfectly snug, and that's going to be right. So I'm going to put this out of the way. Make sure we didn't put the wrong one away. Make sure we almost knock that over. Get our DeWalt. And obviously the biggest thing right now, just go slow. Just go slow. Okay. All right. We're going to find this one. I'm going to do this one first. Okay. Here we go. I'll just put, there's a nice little pressure. Easy. Not going to snug it all the way down. And this one's here right in the groove. So okay, I'm going to finish this with an actual Phillips head so I can feel it better. Put it down there. I'll tell you what, she's tight and she looks right. Okay. Got the name on the right side, and I think we're good here. Here comes the reinstall, making sure that I put the right ones on the right side. And yeah, sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from this end. I'm going to start from the B side because I can see myself working towards me a little bit better. I'm hoping this light is helpful. So we got that. Put that like that. Keeping in mind that there is a B side and there is a G side. So we want to make sure we have that material where the string is going to be right there. So we're just going to slide it in. All right, got it that far. How about that? we're starting to look like something here. Get that. And then, hopefully, gotta do that. I'll line it up. I've got a certain way I can line all this up. So, I'm gonna just give it a little bit of pressure. Just pushing. You can see everything's so well milled here that as soon as it finds the right place right there. Okay, so now, I gotta do a little bit on that washer. You can see that washer right there is a little bit slid down. So you just take your little Allen key right there, just push that up, and I have to go a tiny bit more. And I'm just trying to hold this for the camera, but it would be okay. Had a little bit of an edge right there, and this is designed to be perfectly flush. David's work is just absolutely, I mean, it's not, ain't no question that how it's supposed to be. So this was sticking out just a little bit, so I took this wooden dowel that he provided, and I just placed pressure with my hands, and I just got that axle to move in. Man, how about that? Now, because I know that this one is this one, well, folks, looks like we've got us a CERTANO bender on right there. How about that? Gotta like that. It's pretty piece. Hope my lights might have been in the way, but I just had to need it for me, so I don't know how well it's going to do on the video, but that's the idea. My hand is going to be over here when I play, so yeah, that's going to be just right. Then I'll just figure it out. That's going to be awesome. Okay. Well, this is what the Mad Guitar Tech looks like today. So next thing to do, get all this stuff off, is I'm going to get these strings off. Now, I want to get the strings off. I'm just using a cheaper set of strings because I'm going to goof around with gauges. This is going to be an 11 through 52, which is something I use quite a bit because I do a lot of whole step tuning down in both the live playing and the studio playing that I do. So I just happen to have these hanging right here, so I'm going to just use those. They're just a good test set for me. But I want to get these off, do a little cleaning, then we're going to do the install of our regular stuff here. And when it comes to installing on the actual G and B string, let's do that, and then we'll make our adjustments. I'll tell you what, Mr. David CERTANO, I'll tell you what, you got a great idea. This is like such a great concept. There's no doubt that this is going to work. Yeah. That's cool. You can feel it already. You just feel already that you want to do some bending. Let me get some strings on so I can do some bending. Here we go. Hey, wanted to share a couple things. I've just got all the strings off the guitar, and this is really cool. Look at there. These absolutely just folded out of the way for access to everything that you needed. And I only have the bridge off because, you know, I can, but you can see here that you're unencumbered of doing what you need to do here. It's just a little piece of a puzzle that you just have to work. I mean, that's it. I did not need to take this off, but I thought while I was at the stage, I was curious about, you know, the ability to work on the guitar, and absolutely no issue whatsoever. There you go. So these are neat things because David's thought about so many aspects of this. You know, the folding arms, no issue whatsoever. Everything just gets out of the way. So, and I was curious about, you know, if I needed to work in this area right here, what would I do? But it's absolutely no problem because look, everything is just right where it needs to be for me to do what I need to do. These strings go in on this particular device. They go in this way and then circle over. Of course, the two that are going to go on here, they're going to hook on those two posts right there. So, but I was just curious about that, and That's really forward thinking right there, because that's also important about that 1 inch away, because if it had been less than an inch, this would have been pinched a little bit more. So an important concept, and I know that David's thought so much of this through. Obviously, this is my first time to do this, and it's not his first time to think this through. He's built an incredible device. So I just wanted to share that with anybody who's into setting up their own guitars and working on them, as I am. Just that's a great feature, having those arms fold out of the way, and obviously having that 1 inch distance or so back allowed me the ability to get at, a critical element that I could possibly replace down the road, and for whatever reasons. But there you go. How about that? A little setup 101 for you. That is kind of helpful. But look at that right there. Okay. The adventure continues. A million different ways to skin a cat. So I've pre-strung 4 of the 6 strings. This would be the little E, there's a D, there's the A, and there's the B. And that's the bridge slash saddle that I took off. That's going to go on the guitar. Now, before I get too far along, I put a little bit of spray Teflon and dabbed it on these areas here where there's going to be rubbing. Just the same principle as taking a pencil. I didn't have a pencil, but I do have this lubricant that I've used before. I use a lot of this in the Florida Keys because the environment here is so harsh that any type of lubricant and protection that you can have on metal pieces where there's rubbing, of course, electrical contacts, which you wouldn't use this for, but I'm always coming up with a way to protect any type of metal. So knowing that the string, the B string, is going to slide here, and that the G string is going to slide on that one, I just thought it'd be a good idea to apply just a little thin coating and wipe it down. Just a small little spray on there. So now let's get back to installing the actual bridge here. So we're going to do this so you can see what I've done. And once again, the beauty of David's design right here is that we can easily access the post by just putting that in there, and yep, just getting it right there. There you go. And here we go. We're right back in the ball game. Now we're ready to be strung, but because of the right positioning here, I have total access to this whole mechanism. So I'm going to string up these strings all the way here, and then I'll come back and we're going to install the B and the G because they're going to be done differently. Okay, we've strung up the big E, A, D, and the E. Now it's time to actually to string up the actual mechanism. Now this is where I told you something wrong. I told you that the strings would go over the top here of that material there, and that's not true. Actually, it goes underneath, and of course that makes perfect sense, and I hadn't thought it through up until that point. So with that, I don't want to provide the wrong information. That's why these videos are important, to just make sure that when you make a mistake, you tell everybody. So I'm just telling you, the strings do not go that way. That would be next to impossible. This is the G string. What's going to happen, I can see you can do one of a couple ways. I think, yeah, you can just slide it right through. Now, what there is, let's see if I can get this for you right here. There's an actual post down here. Might have to get the headset on one more time. My headlamp for you beautiful folks. Hoping that the camera's getting all this, but okay. So, once again, we do not go over the top here. We go underneath. So, I'm going to take the ball and just stick it over the end, and there she be. So I don't know if we're seeing that good right there. And then I'm assuming, yeah, you can see everything's nice and in line. So we did good there. And now I'm actually gonna, while it's there, I'm gonna put some tension on it up here. So I'm gonna string it and go so you all can see how it works. I wouldn't doubt it could come off there for sure, but ain't no big deal if it does. Get my stringer. I haven't been so excited in changing strings and I don't know how long. Alright, so here we go. Doing my normal string thing. And here we go. Starting to put pressure to it. I can feel it. And it looks like we're still down there. We're good. Don't want to get the guitar falling off here. Okay, get a nice wrap down here like I normally would. And here we go. There it is, yeah. Well, you can see that my alignment looks good. Look at that. Right there, straight in line. And that's where the B string's about to go. So let's do that one. Okay. B string is somewhere over here. There should be. Okay, so one more time. We don't go to the top, we're going underneath. And I guess you could do it another way. You don't have to do it this way, but there's plenty of room under the mechanism. So I'm going to see if we can do this a little different so maybe y'all can see that right there. Very simple to get on. And there she is. And look at that. She's going to line up just right. Cool. Alright, just kind of watch. Make sure that there's just keeping a little tension on there so it kind of stays there. But I am letting off, and it could easily have slid off by now, but it hasn't. So that's not saying it wouldn't, but it would not be a big deal if it did. So, alright, I'm cranking the string like I normally would. The device is doing something. Alright. Coming across the strings, or excuse me, the grooves, and everything that I need to hit just right. I mean, yeah, so check this out. Look at here. Look at what we've done. This is great. I'll get my flashlight so you guys can see that here. But look at here. We're nice and straight. And the strings are on there. Then, of course, what we will do is figure out the movement of the deal. So, all right, so let's do that. I've cranked these down, so they're basically locked, and I could not push that way because they're locked. And as far as the height on the others, let's go here. So what I'm going to do, well, I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to read those directions. So that's what I'm going to do. Pass the strings through the bender and insert the ball to the small metal shaft. We've done that right to here. Tune your instrument temporarily, not too tight, on the two strings concerning the bender so you can adjust the height lever to the height you want the adjustment screw on the back of the bender. Okay, so that's the back of the bender, and that'll be the height. These right here are the height that these will sit, you know, in terms of this way. So, I don't know where I want them. And we can go from this point. So what we're going to do, let's see what happens here. All right. I don't know. Let's see. All right. Okay, I'm up close enough for pitch of what I get in the ball game with. I'm either a whole step, half step, or standard. So that's plenty good for me. So now let's do a couple things here. Let's start making the adjustments. I'm going to put my head thing back on for you folks because I'm not sure if the light is good in here or not, but listen, we will figure this out. So right now, this part of the mechanism is locked. So if I go to press this, it's got nowhere to go, right? And that string pressure is pulling it right this way. So that string pressure is down. So let's see what happens here. So if we go like this, yeah, okay, look at there. We do that, it would do that. You can see the, oh wow, wow. Can actually see the B raising. We have just bent. We've just bent our first notes. Listen. That's almost a full step. That's just about right. Well, heck. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to just make the, I don't know how high I want anything. So, listen, let's just see what happens. Just raising that right there. String is doing its job. Okay, and then we, all right, I don't know. Man, I'll tell you what, Mr. David CERTANO, I can see this concept. Sure I can. I can see it now. Now this is fine. This is fine. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. I'm not sure about how I'm going to keep it. And what I'm going to do at this point, to be fair to the device and to be fair to everything that I've done, I'm going to put a little bit of time on it. I'll explain to you what I did once I have this wrapped around my mind a little bit better, and we'll let these strings stretch a little bit. All my gear is still in the vehicle and my amplifier is still in the vehicle, so I don't have anything to set up to even let you hear this thing the way it should be. So I am going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm going to tune it up, and I'll make my adjustments a little bit later, and we're going to make some music. But Mr. David CERTANO, this is A+ excellent. Man, this is awesome. I can already tell you. This is going to be the bomb. You can sit here all day and just tune it and bam. All right, let me go get that stuff so we can do this a little bit later. But I'll tell you, before we do go, obviously the install could have been done a little bit quicker, but who needs something done fast? This is all about precision. David's taken the time to make a device that will work if you take the time to do what needs to be done. He didn't write these directions by guessing either. And this is right here is critical like anything else. So there are a couple hurdles that I had to mentally figure out and physically figure out. You know, where does your hand sit on a guitar when you play? My fingers are here, and so therefore having that device you know, in that area made sense to me, and that way my palm could get you know, to get to everything the way that I needed to, and would feel that I could get to it the best way. Also too, making sure that you have enough distance to access the bridge and the saddle in the back is critical, right? Critical. So that's a 1-inch distance right there, and it feels right. Could have gone back a little bit more, I'm sure. Listen, no matter what it is, it's never been on this guitar, and whoever's playing this is going to have to get used to something. So it's no different than having a Bigsby or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just another tool in the box. But I want to tell you something. This is going to be a fabulous tool in the box. Really positive contact too when you move. Man, just solid. You got a good idea where you're going. This is going to be great. This is absolutely going to be great. Okay. Let me go get my goodies and we're going to make some music in a little while. Okay, listen, let's talk about one thing, because I'm going to start getting ready to hook it up to the electric. And what I did is I just sat on the couch for a few minutes and just played around and felt how it felt, you know, what would I like, kind of what adjustment would I like. And the initial place where the arms are, they were a little too high for me. So watch this. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but let's concentrate on that arm right there. Trying to do this with the camera, and I don't know, but if you just tighten this down, watch what happens. You can see that thing is lowering right there. I mean, and there's all kinds of adjustment that just got me closer. That's perfect. And then what happens is you now have messed with the actual throw of the bend, right? Now there's hardly any bend. So what you do, very simply, just unscrew or unloosen that, and now watch. Look at the bend now. My gosh. So that's how you get your setup. And I just wanted to share that with you because I sat on the couch, played, and I thought, well, you know, I need to get those palm levers a little bit closer down. I don't know exactly where I want them to be, but it felt like it was a little too far away from where I was. Oh, this, I might have did it. This is awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to share that a little adjustment with you. That's much more than a whole step. That was actually a 3-note step. So, well, let's talk about that while I'm here. You can set this up to have any throw that you want. Half step, a whole step, which is what I'm going to use. And that was a step and a half. We just went from a B to a D. There's the B, there's D. So here's the bend. Wow. So what you would do is just shorten the distance up by adjusting right there, that middle one right there. This one here is going to be for the height of the arms, the actual palm levers themselves. And then these right here is how much you want the distance of the string to move. So I'm going to tighten it down just a little bit and I'm going to listen. That's getting closer. And a little bit too much. Just going by ear. Yeah. Yeah. Now that's it. Same thing on the G string. So I'm not sure the amount that you can move the notes around with your palm lever, what distance that they would travel in terms of half steps or whole steps. But for me, I'm looking for one whole step. I want the B to be raised to a C sharp, and I want the G to an A. So, of course, the final adjustments will be made with a tuner, and very easy to do because David's just made it so simple to do. I mean, just really thought about so much. The comfort level immediately the comfort level and the ease of use comes to mind. There's just nothing to it. I mean, it's common sense. There's everything to it. So he's taken an incredible amount of time to figure out how to make it so simple for people like me. And that is great. Man, David, I'm going to tell you something. That is awesome. Yeah. Pretty close, pretty close. A little high. Of course, these are new strings, they're going to stretch, so. Okay, I'm going to just let it sit for a little bit, but I just wanted to share that with you. Man, I'll tell you what. We are getting there. We are getting there. Awesome. just got in from birthday dinner with my wife, and I've had the bender on here, the CERTANO double palm bender there. I've had it on for just a couple days, and I've got about an hour of time, maybe not quite that much, but I have to tell you, what a neat device. Now, I'm not a bender player, so having this one on my guitar is the very first time I've ever had any interaction with a palm bender whatsoever. So I made a little loop that's kind of an islandy thing. Like I said, just got in from dinner and just inspired to play a little bit, and I thought I would turn this on to share this with you, and just so you can hear some of the results you can get. You know, we're going to get mistakes and everything else, but you know what? Nobody dying, it's only music. Here we go. Cool. All right. That you're able to adjust these how you want. I have the heights set differently, and I'm getting used to it, you know. So it's very intuitive. In other words, it really makes sense. I have a double bender that is a strap-based bender, and great instrument. But the situation with this, I can just see already that it just makes a lot more sense off the bat. Listen, you get used to everything that you have, so you know, whatever you have, you're going to get used to. For me, right off the bat, yes, there's mistakes, but it's making sense. So some initial things right off the bat I wanted to share, and I apologize that this video is a little bit dark, but hey, it's just what it is. I'm making adjustments as I go, as I've been playing the last couple days. And like I said, I've got about an hour now of time on it. And all this time I've made adjustments. Very simple to do. David's made sure that the adjustment of height for your bars is the back screw right there. And that'll raise the bar up and down. You can see that these two are on different planes because I'm trying to figure out where it fits on my hand, right? And then, of course, the tuning is that middle screw, and then the tension on the arms for how stiff they are, being able to move them, although you can. It takes just a little bit of force, but it's very smooth. And I've been able to get this into perfect pitch, new string, so things are stretching out. But as far as the mechanism is concerned, it's just absolutely rock solid, extremely attractive, and incredibly fun. Finding out, which David refers to it as the morphology of your body, of how you're going to do this stuff, is so important. So, as you can see right here, I'm trying to figure out where I want my hands to do what in order to get the desired bends and how you want them. What I'm doing right now is I'm playing around with how high the bar can be that I can bend the B string, which is right here, and still use the pick to get to the run I might want, like oops. But that's all done with a pick, as opposed to pressing down and using an extra finger to get to the string, which you can sure do. A million different ways to skin the cat, and as you can see, that it's just awesome. It's just absolutely awesome. I can't say enough about it. And pretty, in tune. Listen, mistakes and all, that's just part of the deal, isn't it? So the one thing as a session picker, is just a picker, I don't care about it. This is how you learn, and I love the adventure that this is going to provide for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I can't speak enough in high regards about the CERTANO double bender, and I'm just extremely happy. And I also wanted to let everybody know, whoever watches this, this is not a paid scenario. I'm not sponsored by CERTANO in any way. I bought it just like everybody else buys them, and I'm glad I did. It is money well worth investing in your instrument. Aside from that, my experience with David, the company, and his product, the mailing, the shipping, the communications. If there's a grade above an A+, that's what it would get. And my prayers to each and every one of you that are on a musical journey like I am. And may the good Lord bless you with these opportunities for excitement like he has with me. And to Brother David, thank you so much. My prayers to you and your family, and thank you for providing such a wonderful, enjoyable tool that is going to open doors that I know for me personally, I'm going to enjoy for a very, very long time. Well, I'll tell you what, God bless each and every one of you, and I'm going to get back to doing some bending. That's why I got to practice.